Today I'm going to be talking about Starbound and Terraria and comparing the two from a builder's perspective, because I haven't really seen a video talking about them from a builder's point of view. It's always just from a playthrough point of view. When we look at the two auto-generated structures that are in Terraria, we can see that they're very bland and very boring, and I think this actually has a direct influence on the community. So when I look at the average Terraria build and I look at most adventure maps, most mods, and the constructions that are happening, they are very bland and kind of like the base game. And I think that that's because they don't show you examples of how you can detail things or make things better. As a comparison, if you look at Starbound and look at this is a dungeon in Starbound, and you can see straight away there's thought gone into the design, there's multiple materials being used, and I think all these designs in Starbound actually influence the community a lot more and have made the community in general understand and be able to learn how to detail things on their own without the use of tutorials. The way that the base game inspires people and the creativity in the base game, in my opinion, has affected the community as a whole a lot more. And when you download most mods in Starbound, you can see a big difference than most Terraria mods in the actual construction of things. The biggest advantage I think Terraria has over Starbound is the hammer and being able to hammer any type of material. So this gives a big advantage, especially to terraforming, I would say, and being able to actuate as well. Now, the shaping isn't actually that noticeable when you're not terraforming, because Starbound does have a lot that you can do with the shape. Also a lot quicker, because you don't have to change to the hammer all the time, and you can do some stuff that you can't do in Terraria, but it's limited by the materials because not every material is as adaptable. So it's definitely recommended to mods so you can get more materials that can actually slope as well. Starbound, you can put things in front of sloped walls, and you can run things alongside slopes, which is really good as well. Now this is something I just started building in Terraria, and it's pretty rough at the moment. It's going to take me a while because you can get real pedantic with hammering and stuff as well. I haven't detailed the stone because I'll do that last, but I need to work out where all my shading is going and how all my greenery is hanging, and hammering it first, and then I can blend everything in a lot better. But yeah, it's really time consuming compared to Starbound, but it'll look way better in the end. There is a mod for Starbound called Nostalgic Greenery, and it does enhance terraforming because it adds waterfalls and plants to the mix, but the core mechanics make building things like mountains and trees a little bit more blocky than they would be in Terraria. For Starbound, I definitely recommend playing the game vanilla and then modding afterwards. One of the reasons I like to mod as well is because you get your own kind of spaceship in Starbound, and you can fully customize the interior, but you can't do anything to the outside. You can only upgrade it, but if you play modded, then you can build your own ship block for block, and that's just a really fun experience as well. The best part is as well, if you join a friend or a server, you bring your spaceship with you as well. So it just follows you. It's a build that you take with you wherever you go. Another way that I feel Starbound tries to hold your hand a little bit too much is with space stations. So they've set it up in a very linear way where you have to choose the rooms that are going to appear before you, and then they've got kind of block protection so you can't destroy them and build your own. But they did make it very easy to access the game code in-game, which is really cool, so you can actually just remove that block protection that's on them through a very simple command in admin mode. In Terraria, basically if you hammer down in between two flat-edged walls, you can get a clean line which will let light in, so it's really good for lighting up areas with a lot of wall. If you change the material right next to that join as well, you've got to make it more invisible, whereas in Starbound you just have invisible lights so you can spawn in through admin commands. Both games have tools such as Wedit, which are really good and make building a lot quicker if you're open to modding them. So Starbound's paint system is worse in the core game, but you can get mods for both Terraria and Starbound to increase the paint range and make them better. But Terraria, you can like custom paint furniture and do a bunch of stuff that you can't do in Starbound. But Starbound does get a hue shifter if you get Wedit, and that is really nice actually. You can hue shift furniture as well if you get another mod. Starbound, something I really like is the NPCs. So like, if you want to build a city that feels more like a city with people walking around and all different types of people, then Starbound's much better at this. Also, the fish AI is better, so it's much better for doing fish tanks and ponds and stuff like that. The fish swim around more and there's more varieties even in the base game, so it's really good for adding life to your builds as well. Now, it'd be crazy to try and mention every single thing in both these games because there's so many content in them and they're so good. Both games are really, really good. I'll highly recommend both games. But I'd say if you had to choose, Starbound has, well, you can build sci-fi in Terraria still. Starbound has a much better atmosphere for sci-fi and it's really, really fun for building sci-fi things. So I've been enjoying just building this mega build that I'm going to give you a quick tour of now. While as I would say that Terraria, I much prefer building organics in, and I think it's a better game for organics. But you could still build organics in Starbound if you really like the look of the game and the controls, but it's just a little bit better to do it in Terraria. Just like you can still build sci-fi in Terraria, but I'd say, you know, the atmosphere is better for it in Starbound.